I am going to. Oh, nice. Got a couple others. Come on in, y'all. There's some more chairs. You can sit there.
That is.
You can.
Probably not right there. Yeah. I got you.
So Ryan, before you jump into it,
Yeah,
set the stage a little bit.
I will.
A little more than what I did.
Okay. Blow the horn.
All right. So,
Johnny.
all right.
All right, you ready?
Recording in progress.
All right, let's get started, guys. All right, how's everyone doing today? Yeah? Okay, so this comes from, I think I sold my last listing in 2020 or 2021. At one time, I know Sonny and I sold about 70 listings in 1 year. And the process that we have put together over time comes from the process that we used when we were listing homes. I take that back. I think the last year when we did 70, probably 50 of those were listings, something like that. And this encompasses all price points. You and I had a conversation the other day, Jeremy, about I was in a wealthy neighborhood. That's not true. The neighborhood that I moved into became wealthier over time. But even then, I remember one of the last years we were selling a lot of listings. We sold a home for probably about $250,000. And another thing that I want to talk about is, and it's not in the slide deck, but I've heard from a lot of you about putting your own money into things that the seller needs to cover. And I really want you to think about this as a business transaction. You're running a business. This is not a charity, right? Your job is to add value to your clients. Your job is to tell them what they need to do. And if they can't do it, then they need to know the implications of that. Okay, and the implications of if you don't get your house cleaned up, if you don't paint a room, if you don't make it ready, if you don't spend $300, $400 on landscaping, then you need to let them know that's going to cost them more than $300 or $400 in expenses. If you got a bid for landscaping for $400 and they're like, I don't have it, that's probably a $2,000 deduction, right? And so being able to articulate that is a big part of what you guys need to do, and you should not be on those expenses. In the worst case scenario, you may want to deduct them at the back end, but you also have to realize that sometimes properties don't sell.
Recent polls have shown a fifth of Americans can't locate the U.S. on a world map. Why do you think this is?
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have. And I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and Iraq, everywhere like such as, and I believe that they should, our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. or should help South Africa and should help the Asian countries, so we will be able to build up our future.
Thank you very much, South Carolina.
So that particular, I remember that from years ago, and I looked up the girl from that Miss America thing, and that basically haunted her entire life, right? The moral of the story there is to be prepared. Listings have babies. I've been hearing that my entire career. And I was on a Zoom just yesterday with, I'm going to be on a panel at the Wailopo Summit in South Carolina later this month. And one of the team leaders there was talking about in his office, they have what they call the race to 200. And that's 200 past clients. Because once you get to 200 past clients, if those are worked properly, then you should see 20 either referrals or relistings or buys. That is a sustainable business just at 200 closings. So the mentality that they have, and I think we should adopt that as well, is that we want to close every one of you want to get to 200 past clients in your database that you're communicating with at least twice a month, more so 3 times a month if you use the Gary Keller method. And when I say communicating, that doesn't mean you're calling them 3 times. You've got different touch points, right? And maybe the calls every 2 or 3 months. A lot of our automated stuff. So here are the tools we're going to use. We've got the for sale sign. This is the only image I could find for a just listed under the time crunch I was on. You got our open house. We've got Cloud CMA. We've got 4. That's the app that's provided to you by the Board of Realtors. Zillow Showcase listings and Oppo Seller Suite. Does everybody know what Forewarn is?
Yes.
If you don't have it, get it. It's very insightful, and it's free through our board. The first thing is the sign writer. With every one of our listings, we have a sign writer, and when someone scans that sign writer, you'll see on the right here, they have to put their name, email, and phone number to view the property listing. We've gone completely away from property flyers. They don't make any sense. They don't capture the lead. When we started this a few years ago, it was the text for info. It was before the QR codes were very popular. And I had a client, if you're gonna put flyers on the listing? And no, because with flyers, we're not able to capture their information. And that's what you tell your consumers. When you have a seller that wants a flyer does not serve you anyway. They get crumpled up. We want to be able to capture the information of anyone that's interested in the property so that we can follow up with them. And that's the script that you give the seller because it's true. So Showcase listing, I don't think that you guys really understand how important this is. Now, this presentation is not about how to get the listing. This presentation is how you are going to leverage a listing to get leads. But I'm gonna talk about this for a second because I got a call from a friend of mine that works at Zillow. He is not in charge of my account. We've just become good friends. And he said, Ryan, I've got people in other markets that are doing these Showcase listings, and they are very important because they stand out, right? And so he has some people in, I think it's Detroit, where the guy purchased like 30 to 40 a month, and the agents love them because sellers that are in a neighborhood, they're looking at different listings, and when they see a Showcase listing, it stands out from the rest of the competition. And so this is an example of a Showcase listing report that was given to me as a consumer on a property that I have listed right now, 27 views, which is up 61% versus similar listings. Buyers engaging with your listing. Emails delivered was 1445. The page cut off, but I believe it was like 1,200 open rate, or 1,200 emails that were actually opened. And then it shows shares as well. Here's the advantage of Zillow Showcase listings: direct engagement with the listing agent listed. And guys, for company listings, we're gonna provide these to you, okay? If you don't have a company listing, I highly encourage you to put this in your listing presentation because it can help you win the listing. And then if you get the company listing, if you get your own personal listing, then they go directly to you. And this is what we're told is happening in other markets, that we're getting a lot of direct, basically in some markets, a premier agent, like a listing lead it's gonna cost you $1,000 a lead. You might get one, you might get none, but you might get 3 per one. And only 10% of listings on Zillow are allowed to be Showcase listings. They want to keep it exclusive. Agents using Showcase get 30% more listings, 80% more saves, views, and shares. And this is a big one right here, 25% more profile views. That is going to come from a number of different things, but you're going to looking at people that are interested in you as possibly a listing agent or as a buyer's agent. And that's why Showcase listings is relevant in this presentation.
Talk about Zillow Showcase training that we've done and presentation, just so we have it for because we've got.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna share this.
If you're watching this, we've got a training on Zillow Showcase listing that Johnny's done, and we'll be able to put that in the chat and if under this video once it's recorded. Just listed postcards through ReachOut. This is another thing that you want to do for every listing if you want to maximize listing and get more leads. Did you add this at the bottom? In other words, you'll go into ReachOut, you'll pick your listing, you'll download the neighboring 100 properties or 200 properties or whatever you choose, and then you'll send them to the Express Docs. Next week, it's going to be a one-click, meaning you're going to be able to pick your choice of 100, 200, 500 neighboring homes, click, and then the postcard that you want will go out.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
How targeted are those homes as far as like
They're right there.
like
Yeah.
as far as like these are like likely sellers sellers and, you know what I'm saying?
No, they're homeowners. Yeah, and you can also gauge, you can go in and say, okay, I don't want to send anything to anyone that has bought the home in the last 2 years. So not just are you marketing to potential homeowners in the area, but you're also showing people in your sphere of influence that you are an expert and that you are doing a lot of business. And the same thing with the just listed thing. Let me go back to this one more time. With just listed, you can, with ReChat, you can put in all your past clients. Let's say this race to 200, right? Let's say you're at 100, right? And you can send that just listed postcard out to your 100 past clients so that they know when you get a listing, let's say you do 7 listings a year, then they're going to get noticed every time. It's putting yourself in front of the consumers and your past clients, which is a big deal. We're not just marketing to consumers, we're marketing to past clients, we're marketing to leads that we collected on each listing. The open house, I'm sure you all know there's training on this. This is one of the most powerful tools we've had. I have seen a lot of listings converted on the open house. And just to reiterate how this works, you go to austinhomesaleguide.com/open house. You click on your name, you put the MLS number in this. You can do this for any listing, whether it's yours or not. It pulls up this information here. The person signs in. There's also a training in Workplace about how I used open houses to collect leads. I put a sign on the door that says the owner has asked for a record of those that are entering into the home. Please sign in on the iPad on the counter. And then below that, it says, if you're a real estate agent, please open the lockbox. And so the reason I put that on the door is because it sets the expectation that they're going to sign, right? Now you still have to ask them when they walk in, say, hey, can you please sign on the iPad. I remember I had an agent that was just killing it probably 10 years ago. Every time he'd do an open house, he'd get so many registrations. And I was like, how are you doing that? I just ask him. Put a bunch of signs out, okay? A bunch. Get as many as you can, leading from everywhere. Make it a big deal because open houses are a valuable tool. The neighborhood amenities. And then this is in Wailopo open house. I pulled this yesterday. These are the leads that are in Wailopo. And you can see I put this visit, we've got 1,000 of these, right? You can't see on here when these open houses were done, but they're old, right? Here's one that went to the site a day ago, 2 days ago. You've got, in the first page, we've got like 7 just from 2 days ago, okay? One thing I didn't put on here, the slide I didn't put on here was the Forewarn app. And when you pull the Forewarn app, you'll be able to pull, in a lot of cases, their address. So you put their phone number into Forewarn, it'll pull up their record, and then you're able to update this with their address, which is powerful, guys. I think that's a great way to really, to go deeper with your leads, okay?
Do that in a not creepy way. Like if you're like, I know where you live.
You just do it, yeah. They're not gonna think about it. And if they say something, just say I'm a little creepy. It works for me. Homework for open house leads, do your research, use the Forewarn app, set each of them up. Once you find out if they're a seller or not, you wanna set them up in the seller suite. You wanna send them an item of value via BombBomb or Loom, right? And that's, hey, it was nice meeting you at the open house on 123 Main Street. Here's a look at market statistics. This is why we think, now you want to make sure you're selling the house. You're doing the job, your fiduciary duty for the seller. Here's why we think this house is beautiful, but also here is some market stats. You have information on my listing or any other property in the neighborhood. Please let me know. I've done a lot of research and I'm happy to help you. Again, you're demonstrating your expertise to people. And then send a quarterly or monthly video showing market trends in their neighborhood. You can do this through just a BombBomb video. You can do a Cloud CMA and then walk them through the comps on Cloud CMA and then send it to them. And that way, with the Cloud CMA, they've got a dynamic comparative market analysis and that they can go back to. And you need to explain that. This is a dynamic comparative analysis. You see these properties here that are active. If you go back to this link, you'll be able to see if they went pending or sold. Like that's bringing value to your potential sellers. And also I put this, you should be spending a minimum of 30 minutes a day working on your leads. If you're working these and you're getting, it's very possible for you to get 10 to 15 to 20 leads off of every single listing, okay? And so imagine if you worked every aspect we have of this, right? And you spent 30 minutes a day, just 30 minutes a day going through just the seller leads. Do you think that's gonna turn into a basket of listings in the future? Of course it is. This is how I was able to sell 50 listings in 1 year. Setting up a seller suite, you go back to this, you click on, they'll have a stars link, you'll go into stars, you'll hit create new seller alert, and then you just enter the information, okay? And here's what it looks like. Oh, and right here, by the way, you'll be able to put the frequency, weekly, monthly, whatever, okay? This is what it looks like. This is one on actually the home that I'm in right now. And I don't know if you can adjust it. Johnny, do you know if you can adjust it? Yes. Yeah. When you set up a seller suite and you send them the BombBomb video, say I just wanted to let you know. Now, I don't know if I would do this for open houses per se, but if it's people that register a sign call or the home value or anything like that, you can do it on open houses. Fuck it, why not? Just do it for everybody. The more information you give them, the more likely they're going to use you. But yeah, adjusting, you're gonna know the neighborhood better than this automated seller suite, so go ahead and adjust it. But this is how it looks.
Let the sellers know that they can do it. It's great when the sellers start tuning these things.
Yeah.
If they've pulled out equity, or if they want to, or some big house is closed, or they know of someone that closed for a high price or a low price.
Yeah, so here's what you tell them. When you're sending them a BombBomb video, you put the values right here, okay? And you've got two different sources, and then it shows how your values have changed, and then find out how much equity you have in there. You tell the seller that they can put in their information on here, because this is valuable too. Sellers want to know if they're losing equity or gaining equity. And this is the final piece of the seller suite, which is the heat map. These are people that are in my database right now that are clicking on homes in the area. And you see, it shows the area that the home is located in. And this is, if you guys want to scan, this is a link to that report. You've probably seen it before, but if you haven't, you can scan that QR code.
I was just gonna say, it's probably worth to go in and put your address in, have a test account for yourself, put your address in, play around with it so you can see what your clients are saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions on the seller suite before we move on? What's that?
I got a
Yeah,
Cool.
I love that.
Yeah, every single potential seller should be on here. You need to have as many seller suites as possible. That's the key to landing listings.
We can have them all added into the seller suite.
If you have a list of 50 people that have addresses, we can have them imported for you. Oh, we just did 900, Caleb said. Yeah.
Hey Ryan, is
Yeah.
Showcase available for Houston?
What's that?
Is Showcase available for Houston's agents?
I'm sure it is.
Showcase for Houston.
Probably, but
We can find out.
we can find out. Right now, our accounts. Here, let me send us where they.
We'll find out.
Thank you.
But that was not Showcase, that was Seller Suite.
I know,
Okay.
I didn't want to interrupt earlier.
Very good. The just sold process, handwritten cards to neighboring properties and anyone that came into the open house, just sold postcards, just sold emails, just sold media, social media posts. It's the same exact process as you have done with the just listed, except you're doing it again for just sold. So this again is in ReChat. It's a just sold email. And I don't know, Caleb, when you do this, can you take this template and put it into Follow Up Boss?
No, but on a request basis, I can build you an HTML email template and upload it in Follow Up Boss for you.
Yeah, what you guys may want to do is have a portion of your leads into ReChat. I don't know, we can talk about that. We haven't done that yet. I know we recommend certainly your past clients are going into ReChat because we're using ReChat as more of a deeper but not wider place to market to past clients. And then your just sold postcard, which is basically, you can do the same thing. You want to go, if you sent 100 postcards out for just listed, you want to send 100 to just sold. If you sent a just listed postcard to your 50 past clients, you want to send the just sold postcard to your past clients, right? You repeat it. That way you're touching not only the people that are potential sellers, but you're also touching your past clients, because what happens is if you're doing, like I said, you have 7 listings that you sold in a year, that's 14 touch points showing that you're an expert. Guess what? If that person is having a cocktail party or a dinner party and they say, hey, I'm thinking about selling a home, they're going to be more likely to refer you if A, you did a good job, and B, you gave them 14 postcards showing that you listed and sold 7 homes that year, that you're getting the seller suite to them because you sold them the home. This was very important. Not only are we doing it for potential sellers, but you want to put someone on a seller suite for every buyer you work with, right? So this is what we're talking about, right? This is about how to leverage your listings to produce leads, but it's also about how to cultivate your past clients, your past buyers. Like, all this stuff is very relevant.
Talk about the Spyglass Collective that we're working with now and the training last Wednesday of the month, and having your past clients organized and tagged so that when you're sending these things out, they're going to the right people.
Yeah.
And then you're communicating with them, because we're working on this, and this is just one.
Sidebar with past clients is Johnny's doing the Spyglass Collective, which is a way for all of you guys to collectively get together and cultivate your past clients. Like, we have candles that are getting ordered with our logo that you'll be able to send to them on their birthday and their anniversary date of the purchase.
Scheduling out the touch points, calls, texts, birthdays, anniversaries, home anniversaries, seasonal pop-by gifts, market reports, equity reports, a quarterly newsletter, and also promoting a raffle at the end of the year. If anybody has referred them business, then you're going to enter them into a raffle for something that we're going to give away. And so tag them like Spyglass Collective. So you're going to want to keep these people close, because this is how you generate more business. Do these things, connect with these people. We're setting up as much as we can so that all we need is like agents to plug and play with their clients.
When I was selling property, I had categories of what I call super clients, and there was only like 7 of them in there, but the 7 were attributed. One lady listed her house with me and I did it for free. She was just awesome. She literally $250,000 worth of net commission over 5 years. And she's still a good friend of mine. She moved to France. But
so start there. Make that record. Start small. 2 or 3 people as super clients. How would you treat them?
Absolutely. You don't have to go through all 200. You categorize, and then as building your business, as you're able to afford more, then you can touch more people. It's super important.
The title company will send out, or will at least pay for a percentage for the just sold postcards.
You can subsidize the just sold with title companies. Another thing I was going to say is, if you have your people in ReChat, one thing I noticed the other day is if you open up the ReChat app and you have their birthdays in there, it'll show you front and center whose birthday is coming up. And that's going to be really important if you're working the system. Again, the race to 200, right? You get 200 past clients and then you give them love as much as possible. So some things to remember besides your past clients. You're cultivating a lukewarm lead in most cases. Don't treat it like a hot lead. If you get someone that signs in on open house, you don't do the 10 days of pain, right? They're not a hot lead, but you do want to do the things we talked about, right? Set up as much automation as possible with the seller suite. We've got the market report newsletters. Also, I forgot to put this in here too, but for every single part of Austin, we have put together, Caleb has done an amazing job of putting together a area newsletter. The biggest one we have is downtown. What it does is when you put downtown Austin newsletter, it says, welcome to downtown Austin newsletter. Here's your very first report. And to them, it looks like it's a brand new, every 2-week email about downtown. For downtown, we have pretty much on every newsletter a video walkthrough of every single property that we mentioned on there. For other areas, we've been periodically and very slowly and consistently putting videos with you guys as the presenter in the video for different ones. Like South Austin, I think Sean Tips has done 2 or 3 where he's saying, here's a look at Circle C Ranch or whatever it is. That's another touch point. And this is blood, sweat, and tears that we have put into this to make this insanely simple and automated for you guys to use. You just have to do it. And that's it. 45 minutes.
All right.
Thanks.
Cool.
I have one thing to add. So so I had a listing in Balcones, and my clients had a great idea. They said, why don't we send postcards to the next neighborhood over that has a lower price point?
That's a great idea.
And say on the postcard, thinking about moving up.
Yeah.
You gotta put that in their head. Oh, maybe it is time. We did send that one out. Yes. Okay. But yeah. Anyway, I thought that was a good idea. I was like, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm coming up with the mic for this part. So the way that we are structuring our Wednesday trainings is basically the first hour is going to be very similar to this, where we're going to do more of a presentation style training. We're going to be recording it. We're going to be logging this and capturing it so that we can clip it down and have it for evergreen content in a smaller fashion than even 45 minutes, and clip this down even like social media content, right? And then we can break for a little while. We can stand up, we'll lock it in, and then we're going to come back and we're going to talk about these best practices, what y'all are doing. The same thing that we're discussing right here. We're talking about all the emails, all the action plans, all of these things. We're going to actually work with you guys on how to utilize these things. So it's not just 2 hours of us just telling y'all what to do. It's training and presenting first, and then we're here to workshop it. And we're here for about 2 hours. We've got lunch coming. I just ordered. Lunch will be here in, I don't know, maybe an hour, maybe less. And then we'll hang out. So we're taking that 3 hour time block of our Wednesday training. So 10 to 12, good recorded session, a good jam out workshop session, and lunch. So
Let me ask you guys a question. Do you see the value in doing all of these things?
Absolutely.
Okay. And do you, like most of the things that we put out here, you can set up in minutes, right? It's not all automated. If someone goes into an open house, they're not going to automatically get a seller suite. But they will have a stars link. You can go and click it on there. You can go to forewarn, make sure that they actually live where they live. And even if they're renting, so the fuck what? Put them on a seller suite for the house that they're renting. And do you think that if you did all these things and you did this for every single listing, do you see how you could create a machine that gets you off of company leads for the rest of your life? Yeah, absolutely. In the end, I never took, the last 5 years of my career, I never took a lead. It was all referral, every single one of them. So it's important stuff, and I think this is why if it's like going to an open house and just showing up and just opening the door and here's the house. You're not going to get anything from that. All you're going to do is let people see the house. That's better than nothing, but everything that we do as a real estate agent, if you're wanting to maximize your effort, you want to be a true professional, then you have to have a process behind every single part of it. And that's what we've tried to do for you guys, so that there's not any thinking about it. What do I do for this? What do I do for this? No, it's all right here. And I think this is part we might have neglected to present in a better way to show that this is how you create a sustainable business. Now, when I say that, I'm talking just about the leveraging your listings, right? Johnny's done training for every single thing, but I think this might have been a missing piece, because if you saw Anthony's video the other day, did I post that in a chat? Yeah, I think I did. Okay. Yeah, we're gonna have a turn in the market in the next year. And the whole gamble that President Trump is doing right now, the entire thing is based on bringing down interest rates. Yep. Okay? And if that works, then you're going to see people sell homes. Okay? And that's going to happen sooner rather than later. And that's why doing this stuff right now is so important, because you want to set yourself up now for the business that's going to happen in 3, 6, 12 months.